Finally got my center link in, new one. We're getting ready to now get as close as we can to aligned as it was before. And something to note, although the original one does have the L on here for left side, this new one does not. And the tie rod ends, just like the original one, which says R for right side. The new one says R for right. You may be wondering, well shit son, the new one doesn't actually say right or left on here. How the hell am I going to know which side goes? It looks so similar. If you look very carefully, you'll note there's a little divot in here. And it's not as visible because it's dirty on the old one, but it is still there. The divot is on the passenger side. Or in the US in this case, you know, which is the right side. Right side is passenger side, so just remember, R, right side, us US passenger side, has a little divot there. So that's all you got to do for the center link. So we're going to go ahead and spin this down to make sure they're both the same on each side and get as close to alignment as it was. And then from there, once I get the rest of the suspension on, I can always jack the car, get it down on the ground, drive it around, settle the suspension, and then adjust as needed to get the wheels straight and the tires straight. So we're probably only going to get that done today because it's now after 1. We only got a few hours of daylight left. So I'm going to try to get the front done. We still don't have the tools to help get my bad wheel bearing on the driver's side replaced. So what we can do is just put the old knuckle back on if I have the time to do it today. And then I can always just do that later because you can do that with the knuckle and everything on the car. So I'll probably just do that. But for now, slowly but surely, getting her done. The loosening thing on the new one, by the way, is a 16 mil. This one looks bigger. It was probably a 17 or 18, but the new one's 16 to loosen that. And then we'll get to see how different all the other fasteners are, if they are in fact different size than all the other ones, the original ones. Alright, so we're getting the idler arm back in. It's a 15 millimeter nut up there, or bolt. 15 millimeter nut right there, where the tie rod connects. Center link, I guess, whatever you want to say, inner tie rod or center link connects. 19 millimeter. It was the same when I took it out. And we have over on this side, the driver's side, where the pitman arm is. This is an 8 hex, and this side is a 16 mil. And when you take this off and put it on, you will have to pull this out, because in the splines where this bolt goes through, there's an area cut out to allow it to fit. So you can't put it in wrong, because if you try, you're not going to be able to get this back in. So that's easy enough. It's also a 19 mil up there. Unsure of the torque specs yet. I'll have to look them up, because I wrote everything down from the TIS, but I do know the clamps, the tie rods, the little clamp down bolt dealy guy, that is 20 foot-pounds or 240 inch-pounds, whatever the hell that converts to in Newton meters. I'm not sure of these guys yet. Right now I just got them torqued to the same, but I'll look into that because it's probably going to be more. And then I still have to research all what these are going to be torqued to. So we're getting there slowly but surely. You just got to get this thing secured, and then get the struts and knuckle in, and then, yep, it'll be more or less done. It would help with another person. This thing is kind of a pain. When you do this side, it is going to spin on you, the one on top, so you got to have your 15 up there, and then your 15 socket down here. And then I suggest sitting over here like I did and just kind of torquing and holding it up. Using one hand to hold the wrench, using your other to torque your torque wrench. But alright. Come back when I get when I progress a little bit further and have some torque specs. Torque spec for those arms is going to be 45 foot-pounds and 30. 45 on the gear, and 30 on the bar to the chassis here. Alright, we got passenger side mostly done. We just need to, more or less, get the rotor, the caliper, my ABS sensor back in there, and put the wheel on, and then this side's mostly done. Everything's hooked up. So torque specs, the control arm to chassis here, 18 millimeter. So I used a wrench, and then my torque wrench over here, 57 foot-pounds. And under the shock, 68 foot-pounds. 48 foot-pounds on the tie rod end to knuckle. And then that was, remember, the clamp is 20 foot-pounds, which I haven't completely torqued yet, so I may or may not need to adjust it. We don't know yet. This is still loose, my stabilizer bar, because we had to do that up in there. 21 millimeter on both sides. Remember, your bolt head is facing towards the front, the nut is facing towards the back, which is the opposite of your control arm. Nut faces front, bolt faces back. Washer on both sides here. No washer on that guy. The thrust arm, and I'm not sure what the torque spec was for the knuckle, so I just did the same that the control arm was, which was it 57 or 68? I believe it said 68. I used an impact actually on both of them, so it's kind of sort of where it needs to be, more or less, we're going to assume. And then make sure you torque at ride height. So I put the jack under here with my hockey puck, jacked it up until it was a hair off the jack, then torqued, and I dropped it back down, so now we're not at ride height. So as you can see, the bushing is slightly twisted, but at ride height, that bushing will not be twisted. It'll be where it needs to be. Yeah, that's about it, I guess. We'll do the rest. Maybe Thanksgiving Day if my parts come in, so we didn't really even get to the driver's side, but that's not a big deal because I still need to replace the wheel bearing anyway. But that's that. I mean, this is our bearing. We got our caliper still being held up on the spring this time. That's back together. 13 millimeters. I don't know what the torque specs are for these either, so I just kind of impacted them on. And then with that, I don't know the torque specs on that either, but you can't get a torque wrench in there anyway because, you know, it bangs into the center link and the stabilizer bar, so you'll never get to that head anyway. So I should maximum foot-pounds in my arms with the two 21 millimeter wrenches, so that should be good enough. Alright, that's really all I got for this video. I just need to clean up before we get too dark here, and then next time we can get driver's side done, and then take this thing out for a test drive, see if the wheel's straight or not. We'll let the suspension settle, and then we can check the if the front of each tire, from like front driver to front passenger, is the same distance as rear driver to passenger. Use a tape measure for that, and then we'll adjust our tie rods as necessary. And then at that point, we'll know that the alignment's straight, that both wheels are tracking straight, and then we'll just have to, at that point, get in again, drive it around, and then see if the steering wheel's in the 12 o'clock position. If not, or it's off one way or the other, then no big deal. At that point, we can just loosen or tighten each inner tie rod, both sides the same, until the steering wheel's straight. And then that'll be good enough to get to the alignment shop, and then we still have to do the back, but slowly but surely. Hopefully Thanksgiving, the rest of my parts will be in. That's my next day off, and I can get the front end done. Alright, thanks for watching. Peace.